And so no doubt about that.
In West Virginia, we've had reports of anywhere from 2 to 6 inches of snow across northern Virginia. And the area of low pressure off the North Carolina coast, if you look at the enhanced satellite imagery, the colorized cloud tops indicating the higher cloud tops relative to the total cloud picture that you see before you. And right on the southern edge of those clouds, we tend to find some of the more moderate to heavy snow across the area. There's the latest radar for you, and you can see the snow does stretch as far north as New York City into southern New England. A bit of a surprise. Didn't quite expect as much snow to get that far north. And you'll notice around Baltimore and Washington, there's more snow currently on radar. Speaking of Washington, our own Mike Seidel has been reporting live throughout the storm. Mike, why don't you go ahead and give us an update as far as the situation in the D.C. area?
Okay, Declan, as you mentioned, it's snowing pretty hard around the area, and this is about as hard as we've seen it snow all day long. The Capitol's behind me. We're on the west side, and the visibility continues to come down. And it's getting harder to see the old rotunda there up on Capitol Hill. This is pretty impressive. We're getting close to a moderate snowfall now. It's been light most of the day since it started at 2:30 this morning. But the good thing is, Declan, the roads are still just wet here in the district because temperatures are still just above freezing, running 33, 34 degrees. Out in the suburbs beyond the Beltway, that's where the problems are, as temps are below freezing by a hair. Dulles at 31, between 31 32, depending how far out you are. So the northern and western suburbs expect, especially on the elevated surfaces, some icy patches, some slush-covered roadways. But all the highway crews, Northern Virginia, Montgomery County, PG County, and here in D.C. have been salting. In fact, we've seen the salt truck come up here on 3rd Street and then up Pennsylvania Avenue towards the Capitol several times in a situation where it's not sticking. So they're well prepared. They've been out since early this morning. And after last year's blizzard, this is pretty much just a basic nuisance event. I want to tell you, Declan, everybody's out today enjoying the snowfall, enjoying the monuments, the National Gallery of Art. It isn't stopping the locals or the tourists from getting out and enjoying a Saturday here in D.C.
Okay, again, and Mike, like you say, kind of at this point anyway, more of a novelty than anything else, just because we've had so little snow this year in Mid-Atlantic.
Yeah, they've only had 2.5 inches so far at National Airport, and this is an area which averages 20 to 24 inches a year, Declan. So, you know, they're playing catch-up, and compared to last year, they're way down. So this is, I guess people are looking forward to this. It's kind of like the first snow of the season. They're happy to see it, and fortunately it's occurring on a Saturday, not affecting the rush hour.
That's right. Very good point there, too, Mike, because had it been on a Monday morning, perhaps a little bit more difficulty. Thanks a lot. We'll be checking in with Mike as we head through latter this afternoon and into this evening. And again, this is a system that really into the northern counties in Virginia. That's where we have some of the heavier snow right now. Arlington, at least national, on the Potomac, a little bit over an inch as of 2 p.m. this afternoon. We've had additional reports of 5 inches out in Orange County. Folks who live over in Stafford County, just about 2 inches of snowfall. And in Mineral County, out in easternmost West Virginia, about 5.5 inches of snow. The snow, by the way, is expected to continue into this evening. We still have the so-called upper part of the storm that has yet to traverse the entire mid-Atlantic. So until that happens, we're going to see the snow continue to accumulate. But thankfully, in many areas, at least the air temperatures, the surface air temperatures warm enough so that we have lots of slop and slush out there, but not a significant travel problem for the most part. Well, stay tuned. We'll keep you updated on the snow as it pushes across the mid-Atlantic. There's more weather other than the mid-Atlantic. And as we check it out, we do see one storm heading back into Texas. This is some high-level moisture being brought in with the jet stream, although we do have a few rain showers right up along the Rio Grande. Most areas of the country, it's sort of a dry day today. Current weather analysis looking across the whole nation, dry across much of the western United States. A few snow showers up across areas of the Red River Valley and some snow around Chicago. You know what? One of those rare cases. There was one earlier this year, but lake effect snow. Doesn't happen that often because we don't see this weather pattern that often where we see the winds blowing out of the northeast. Normally it's north or northwest especially. So it's northern Indiana or northern Michigan that sees the snow. Also some rain in the state of Florida. We'll head first of all to Florida.
Mid-Atlantic coast. A disjointed storm at the present time with an upper level low pressure area heading up through the central Appalachians. They should all merge off the Mid-Atlantic coast, and this low is going to strengthen. So coastal areas may need to watch out for some locally heavy snow from this storm. Satellite photographs showing, sort of a hodgepodge here. A lot of moisture right off the coast, and all these yellows and blues, high clouds. Don't really need to worry about this. The low clouds, tough to see, but some enhancement with the blue back here, indicating where some of the heavier snow is. That is in the Baltimore, D.C. area. That is where the heaviest of the snow is at the present time, covering areas of northern Virginia. Still snowing back toward the mountains of West Virginia, and if you're out at one of the ski resorts in Pocahontas County all the way up toward Garrett County, Maryland, probably seeing some additional snow and making you happy today. Anyhow, looking at our Virginia radar around Richmond, pocket of sleet, then it changed over to snow, still snowing. Head down 64, you may run through some sleet, then eventually rain down toward the Tidewater. Still some heavy snow southwest Virginia, or D.C. in Virginia down to Charlottesville, where there's been a 2 to 6 inch snow. Doppler radar really showing us what's going on. Here's the city of Baltimore, here's D.C. Montgomery County is getting pounded. I believe this is going to be one of the heavier snow totals. Anywhere from Gaithersburg, Rockville, Wheaton, heavy snows beginning to pick up. All the way up toward Howard County, Columbia, it looks like it's picking up. Right on back to Prince William County in Virginia, the snow is coming down. This is all heading right up the D.C. Baltimore Pike. Yeah, it is going to start really picking up here over the next few hours. Some snow also, southern Pennsylvania, Amish country, Route 1 probably a little snowy, all the way up to near Allentown where it drops off. Back to New York City, the snow also drops off. Look at this pocket of lighter snow, and actually no snow heading northwest of town. But across Long Island, it's going to snow, and probably 2 to 4 inch snow from this one. Coastal areas need to watch out. Okay, as we check
Weather Channel.
Well, good Saturday afternoon to you. I'm Rich Johnson here in the studio, and I tell you what, over the past 2 hours, our storm in the Mid-Atlantic is rapidly coming together. Heavy snow right now in Baltimore, the snow picking up around D.C. The details of this storm, let's head right out to the Forecast Center with Declan.
That's right, Rich. Something we haven't seen in a while, at least in many cases in the Mid-Atlantic, a fairly significant snowfall. We've already had reports of 4 to 6 inches in the mountains in western Virginia, and also in parts of eastern West Virginia, reports of 6 inches of snow from the system. Here's the latest Doppler radar out of Sterling, Virginia, and you can see the darker green representing some of the more moderate to heavy snow, and right there in the almost in dead center there in the screen, that rectangular shape, that is the D.C. area. North of town, as you get up into Montgomery County, it looks like that's where some of the heaviest snow is falling. In fact, if you live in central Montgomery County and then stretching northeastward up towards west central Howard County, probably getting snowfall now at the rate of at least an inch an hour. And it looks like this area of moderate to heavy snow will continue to develop and expand its way to some extent northeastbound, almost in a straight line across north central into northeastern Maryland. And we do have reports at this hour of some moderate snowfall in south central Pennsylvania. Earlier this afternoon, we had a report via the Weather Service office in State College, Pennsylvania, of 3.5 inches near York, Pennsylvania. So again, this is a system which continues to deposit the snow across south central Pennsylvania and even as far north as southern Connecticut and New York City. We've had snow move in from the system. Now the actual low is actually off the coast of North Carolina this afternoon, and it continues to move northeastbound. Let's go to D.C. right now and check in with our own Mike Bono, okay, too many mics around. Mike Seidel, you think I was the flake. Mike Seidel, who's going to give us an update on what's going on in D.C.
Okay, Declan. And we want to update you on the situation here at the nation's capital. We're on the corner of Pennsylvania and 3rd, looking over towards the Capitol, the Rotunda, and some pretty pictures. And the snow's come down pretty hard for about an hour and a half now. And you can see it sticking to the magnolia tree here. And a lot of people out enjoying the snowfall today. One of the reasons I don't think it's bothering anybody is because the Washington area has only seen 2.5 inches so far this season. And they are way behind their seasonal average of about 20 to 24 inches for a whole year, and a far cry from the blizzard. The other reason is it's a heavy wet snow, Declan. It's not sticking to the roadways here, at least in town. Temperature right now is running 33, 34 degrees. We saw the salt truck come by just a moment ago up 3rd Street and around Pennsylvania Avenue and back at the Capitol. That, I believe, is the 4th time they salted the roadway, and that's pretty impressive considering that there's really nothing sticking to the road. And one of the reasons, again, is the temperature is just above freezing.
Yeah, that's one part of the system we'll have to watch later on tonight, Mike, is the prospect that maybe somewhat cooler air or just cool enough air will come in and perhaps make it a little bit more difficult for folks trying to get out and about. But so far, it looks pretty good. Snow on the grass, but the road's okay.
Yeah, that's what's going on, I think, out in the suburbs. What we've heard out around Gaithersburg, out 270, going out towards Frederick. And as you get out north and west of Washington out there in Loudoun County, where temperatures are now just below freezing, obviously there is certainly much more of a problem on bridges and overpasses and secondary roads. Of course, the highway crews across northern Virginia, here in the district, PG and Montgomery County, have been out since about 3 o'clock this morning. It actually started snowing here where we are near the Capitol about 2:30, and they were out salting necessary areas. And about 3 or 4 hours ago, I noticed them salting these roads about once an hour, 4 times now. So they're well prepared, and this is basically just kind of a nuisance compared to last year's blizzard. And they've got, by the way, plenty of salt on hand because they've stocked up after last winter. So they've got plenty of chemicals to treat the roadways. And the only problem will be later on tonight if the temperature falls below freezing or down below 30 here right inside the city.
Mike, quick question before we wrap it up. How much do you estimate you have right there right now?
We have about 2 inches on the ground here, Declan, and we picked up about an inch in the past couple of hours. This is as hard as it snowed all day, and although we can still see the Capitol, I'd say our visibility is running about 5/8 of a mile, which is the threshold between light snow and moderate snow. So that's what we're looking at right now, and based on what you've said with the radar, it's going to continue through the early part of this evening before tapering off.
Okay, again, thanks a lot. That's Mike Seidel reporting from Washington, D.C. in the heart of our snow as it continues to move across the mid-Atlantic. All right, let's go ahead and talk a little bit more about this system in terms of what it's been doing. We haven't had much snow this particular season in the D.C. area, as a lot of the snow lovers know, in the mid-Atlantic.
Actually, quite a few clouds for this Saturday. We have jet stream moving into Texas. Why is that important? Well, eventually that's going to supply another low pressure center with more moisture, so it's going to follow the first storm, sort of, where we see a couple more storms be carried right along the southern jet and around the south. Currently around the country, dry in the west, very quiet Saturday. No travel problems due to the weather that I can see. Over to Chicago, some snow. And you know what we have today? We have some of that lake effect snow in Chicago. Probably thinking, isn't lake effect pretty common? Not in Chicago. Most times it's southwest Michigan, maybe northern Indiana, but to find that northeast wind, pretty rare bird. Well, down in Florida, the cold front's coming through, and we see a few light rain showers across areas of south central Texas, also the snow in northern Illinois. First of all, though, we're going to take a stop right on into Florida. Rain showers stretching across Florida today, and you can see that's with the front, few showers and storms going along with the beeline. all the way toward Orlando over the next 2 or 3 hours. It's going to be sort of wet, so just be prepared for some slick and slow conditions. Also extreme South Florida, a few thunder showers, possibly just to the north of Key Largo. And here's our Doppler radar out of Chicago. You can see this band of snow coming in off of Lake Michigan down into Chicago. This is northern Illinois. Now, tell you what, there's one other radar I wanted to show you. I don't think Declan had a chance to do this, but I want to show you what's going on with areas of the mid-Atlantic. And you can see up toward Pennsylvania, New Jersey, we have some snow today also, and over toward Long Island. In fact, we can zoom in just a little bit here, and let me scan on over, and you can see the snow all the way up. Yeah, all the way up toward Boston, a little bit of snow, and also a little bit of, I think we can call it ocean enhancement here, meaning that also a northeast wind is picking up some additional moisture. So a little bit of snow, then this is mostly virga. That is the snow which is evaporating before it hits the ground. Maybe the south central coast of Connecticut, a few light snow areas. Out toward Nantucket, some snow. This is going to be a Nantucket nipper, which brings some snow, and it could be locally heavy too. We'll also have to watch especially eastern areas of Long Island out around Montauk. We'll have to wait and see. Well, speaking of snow, you know this is an anniversary for